So God creates light, but then he creates these things to carry the light, to be the governors of the light, the sun and the moon and the stars. Very often throughout Scripture, the sun is a symbol. Well, it's a symbol of the coming Messiah. We see that at the very end of, particularly the end of the Old Testament, of the Hebrew Scriptures, where in Malachi it talks about, the Son of Righteousness will arise, talking about the day when Christ comes. And of course, Christ comes, he says, I am the light of the world. As long as you're with me, it's daytime. But when I go, it'll be nighttime again. And we, as God's people, we are waiting for Christ to return, and that will be day. Paul says that in Romans chapter 13. He says, the night is almost over. We're waiting for our salvation. The night is almost over, and before long, the day will dawn. Well, what are we talking about? We're talking about when Christ returns, and we no longer need the sun and the moon, but Christ will be there. He is our great and ultimate sun through which we can see, and through which we can walk. And we have that to a degree here in this life. As Paul says, we see in part and we know in part, but one day when Christ returns, we shall see fully. But there's not only the other lights. There's a moon. There are stars to govern the night. And this world, as is said in the New Testament, is still in its night. And we, as the church, we as the people of God, we reflect Christ's light to this world. We are like the moon. We don't shine our own light. We don't generate our own light. But as we face Christ, as we worship Christ, as we follow Christ, as we receive his love and his life and his forgiveness, we offer that to the world around us. We're not giving them our own light, our own brilliance, our own whatever. It's not because we're so smart or we're so clever or we're so good looking or anything like this. But Christ has been kind to us. He's given us kindness. He's given us mercy. And so we give that back to the world around us, just like the moon gives the light of the sun back to a dark world. Also in the New Testament, the Bible refers to saints as stars, both in the Old and New Testament. In Daniel, at the end of Daniel, it talks about how the righteous will shine like stars. And Paul, when he writes to the Christians there who are in Philippi, he's talking about how they live in a dark and a perverse generation, whom you shine as stars in, in the world. We are that light. Christ is risen. He is our risen King. And because he is alive, he can shine on us. And as he shines on us collectively, as the moon, as the church, also individually, we bring light into darkness. This is the reason Christ said, I am the light of the world. But then he turned to his disciples and says, and you are the light of the world. Why? Because we're facing Christ. We're following Christ. We're trying to obey Christ. And through word and through deed, as we do that, we bring his light into the darkness. Okay, that's how we see a bit of Christ's glory on day 4. If you have some thoughts about maybe something I haven't mentioned about how to see the glory of God on the 4th day of creation, please leave a comment below. And if it's sufficiently nasty and mean, maybe we'll get around to replying to it. And we're going to do more of these days. So please, if you've enjoyed it, then like and subscribe, and I'm happy to continue this conversation with you. So God bless, and see you later.